line. Check the radio, pit crew is far from slow. The lights no longer yellow. Ready, steady, go. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 In love with the ride. Burning rubber smells real nice. Fuel it up once or twice. Come on, fast is the way to drive. Crowds all on their feet, not one bothered by the heat. Imagine them in the driver's seat. Checkered flag would be sweet. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Everybody get ready. On your feet. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Crank it up. Crank it up. Oh, it's race day. 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 Crank it up. Finger to the sky and a green light shining bright. The only thing I have in mind is the finish line. Check the radio, pit crew is far from slow. The lights no longer yellow. Ready, steady, go. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 In love with the ride. Burning rubber smells real nice. Fuel it up once or twice. Come on, fast is the way to drive. Crowds all on their feet, not one bothered by the heat. Imagine them in the driver's seat. Checkered flag would be sweet. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Everybody get ready. On your feet. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Crank it up.
and gentlemen, welcome back here live on the PTM Racing TV as we are giving you guys a little showcase today. It is Porsche Cup Challenge Series here as they are now at Watkins Glen International here in Watkins Glen, New York to showcase to you today one of the hardest races they'll face in this season. Welcome back to the show, everyone, and it's time to get down to business here as always. So let's take a look at our starting lineup here for round 5 at Watkins Glen, the International style. Philip Hammer, your number 1 seed here in the 60. Outside the 34 is Spencer Marsh. Row number 2 in the 85 from Australia, mates. It's Corey Lazarus. On the outside, in the 87 is Fernando Feria. Row number 3 is going to be the 76, the Thorsten Seifert, and the outside, the 160, that's Daniel Thomas. Row number 4 is Niall Killen from the UK, baby, and the 93, the outside, the 285, it's Igor Kos from Germany. Row number 5, Emil Koopmans, and the 911, the outside, the 155, it's Michael McLeod, and out of the brothers and sisters in the northern end of Canada. Row number 6 in the 496, representing America, Kenny Ecker, and the outside, the 977, Felipe Straffarelli. Row number 7 comes to us here with Alexander Wilford, the 79, the outside, the 210, Salvatore Garriento, excuse me. Row 8 is going to be the 52 of Mark T. Bruin, the outside, the 718, Jason Leons. And in the row number 9 is the 00 of Byron Diabello. And finally, row in the 992 of Danny Hoogendome with the 458 Emmanuel Ojo rounding out the field. Green's out, dropping them away, and it's time to send them on down to the track. Well, camera trouble out of the gate, but nevertheless, the driver's going to roll our way right down off the gate, and it's time for our first sprint race of the day. 15 minutes is clocked into this one. Philip Hammer immediately taking early control. And if they had to choose a track that was going to give my style of racing, I think they chose the perfect track that I can tell you how it runs. Obviously, more of a NASCAR kind of guy, so I know how these high draft, high-speed tracks work. This is absolutely a driver's course in terms of having to build the speed and build the run. And the main thing here is watch those corner entries and watch those exits here more than anything. Don't let the track bite you too quick, or it may cost you a lot more time than you realize. You're on board with Thorsten Seifert here, the number 76 right at the gate here as Fernando Feria tries to hold him back, and Corey Lazarus right in that mix as well. Gap starting to brew up, starting to drive a little bit hard out to the lines here. You can see the cars already trying to get into a drafter's side here. You'll see a lot of slingshot opportunities, especially in these very tough-ended corners. Like turn number 1 here, a beautiful sharp right-hander sends you skyrolling, just trying to get out of the way quickly before you hit up slippery slope, the Snake Hill, if you will. Sidewinding right down, Marsh and Lazarus going head-to-head. Marsh slight disadvantage on the right side, but he'll have an advantage with the bus stop here. And Lazarus, well aware of that now, trying to make sure that doesn't give him any opportunity to try to make the move. And that's going to be the troublesome spot there, trying to make that corner. Lazarus in trouble. Lazarus in trouble. Emil Koopman's in trouble. Daniel Thomas and all them in there. Everyone scattering and trying to find a way out of it. Oh, my. Thankfully, there's enough space to do it, but that don't mean nothing when you're trying to get through the gap. Still 3 wide coming from the carousel turn. They'll bring it back down to the straights. Well, I guarantee you one thing, Lazarus is not a happy camper on that one. Field still working their way in. Oh, there's problems down there as well. They're having all sorts of issues trying to turn them in at this point. And still they're getting each other in the corners. Nasty little tumble there coming down from the turn. Fernando Feria just getting completely whacked in the mix there and nowhere for them to go. We'll take another look at it from the PTM Race TV instant replay, but really we got to go back to where it all started, which was Corey Lazarus and them getting duped from the bus stop. Let's take a look at it. Here's what started this chain reaction. This was the first part right here. See, looks like Lazarus, yeah, he tried to corner down. And when he cornered off, he made a big mistake not figuring out where was the other car in it. The other one being Fernando Feria. And then after that, all of a sudden, things just got from bad to worse. Run him down to the straightaway here, entering in for turn number 11 here. Set off the gap a little bit, and then you can see all of a sudden trying to get some room back. Fernando getting a little bit tight on the exit. And then one of them getting trapped in the entry. Nowhere for them to go. Absolutely wild little situation there. Back to the live feed right now here as the rest of the field trying to figure out where the heck everything else went wrong. Michael McLeod right now having a little bit of a field day. He puts the jellyfish number 115 into the fray and into the battle zone. He's currently holding on to 7th spot here, but he knows he's not out of the woods yet. If these drivers want to think about taking some control of this race, they're going to need to start thinking about how to kind of tick-tock and click on the clock. Still 10 minutes left on this one here. Daniel Thomas, Nio killing right now, currently trying to see if they can gap the other off here and see what they can bring to the table. The gaps right now here are starting to kind of be more tremendous here. They're starting to kind of push their limits off a little bit as they go, forcing each driver to have to choose and pick their right opportunity to strike. But for those that are currently just trying to lay out from the troublesome places they found themselves in, that could be easier said than done, because it's all about timing and pacing to the draft, to the keen of the coon of the drive. And again, when you try to get a little bit further into this race here, those tires start to wear out, those hard right-handers, and that sharp right-handed bus stop in the middle and the flanking carousels, that will eventually start to really push you as a driver and make you have to make some crucial decisions that end up kind of forcing you down a few notches. And that's where I think really could be a big problem for him. Emmanuel Ojo there in the 458. Parking it right there on Mark De Bruin as these two look to try to counter the gap off, try to roll through. Interesting little thing there. You actually can hear the fuel kind of kick off a little bit, then you hear them actually shifting down, so it sounds like actually they're trying to get all the RPMs they can out of these things. And that seems to be working quite well. Speaking of working quite well, look out for Igor Kos. Oh, big little pass there. Out on turn number 12 there over Spencer Marsh. That's impressive. He almost just wheeled it right off into that turn like it was nothing, and Spencer just had nothing he could do about it. I know he's got a little bit of damage. He's also probably fighting with the car because of those hits and those bumps and tags that he took, and probably got him to go from the infield infield garden, if you will. But one thing we always say, this is not lawnmower simulation. That would be my local dirt track I call for. This is literally iRacing, a realistic simulation in terms of what you're trying to race on, except for the fact sometimes that grass is not exactly very friendly on that. Danny Hugendorm right now looking to see if maybe he can put the number 992 up a little bit further ahead. He's 7 spots up, hard charging, but hard charging today is the guy right ahead of him, Emmanuel Ojo. Put him right in place there, and you will have that spot now. Doesn't seem too minded either. Hey, look at the grass stains there too, coming out of that turn. I didn't realize they actually have more grass stuff in the sim. Now they actually got the grass stains and the rubber stains on there. I like that. Credit where credit is due. They were able to really put up a different little showing, a nice little track slide here for these guys. I'm intrigued. I am very much intrigued. Hammer and Cypher right now currently separated out by about 7 seconds. Hammer just put Kenny Eckert right behind him. And one of our lone Americans today, unfortunately, realizing that Hammer is just in a class of his own. But the crazy thing though is, guys, we've got some absolutely hard-running, hard chargers that we have yet to get down on the track here. Some even with 9,000 iRate to their name, so who is to say what happens then when they get on the show? Now killing the 93 right now, still holding Igor Kos back behind him just a little bit, trying to put the pressure on and see if we can hang it down. Fernando Feria, by the way, is that driver I was talking about, the 87, although right now anyway. Probably doesn't want to be reminded he's one of the heavier hitters here, and he ended up getting taken out. Kind of proves and shows you that no matter how good or how clever you are on a racetrack or how tough you are as a driver, eventually the racing gods will have your number and they'll have your day. And speaking of have your day right now, watch out for Igor. He's got a big run here on now, killing here. Igor right now trying to right into the bus stop. Hard charge, runs it through the bus stop. Clean as a whistle. Let's go. He gets the pass. Now, right now, probably not too thrilled that he let that opportunity slip up from him. Look at how wide, too, these guys are driving that exit of the carousel turn. I remember there's a time we were told not to do that, and we were supposed to stay within the lines there. Now it's like they just don't really care. They're going to run every part of this track up. And you're probably wondering, oh, well, why are they trying to run outside the track? Wouldn't that make it harder for them to get any faster? Well, you got to remember something. There's two ways to get faster. The first way is shorten the track out as much as you can and keep a decent throttle rhythm and good RPMs. The second way, simple. Make sure you got a foot full to the gas pedal and make sure you're keeping it straight as can be, and it will give you speed. It's a very tight, delicate balance, but if you can do it right, it is very possible to perform and be an attribute at. Just all hinders on what you as a driver want to try to do, what you want to try to bring to the table. But in road course racing, you kind of got to follow a certain kind of code, a certain kind of ethic on how you do it there. And trouble down there for Kenny Eckert. He's got a lot of problems there. Looks like coming from the carousel, from the bus stop here. It's either the bus stop or the carousel turn. Looks like right about down here. Yeah, that's the carousel turn. He's lost it here. Oh, that's interesting. He actually lost it from the corner. I wonder if he had shifted in the wrong spot and then almost sent it down to the part of the track he really shouldn't be anywhere near. Whatever the case may be, that's definitely not the deal he wanted to put himself into, and that's going to cost him a lot of time. Back on from the lanes here. Michael McLeod here. Corey Lazarus battling for the 6th spot. Spencer March just mashing the gas pedal down and marching down through the field, trying to send himself anywhere he can. The remaining time left on the clock. And Lazarus, despite literally getting the shaft, if you will, he's not out of this one just yet. He's actually taking complete control of his mistake and putting everybody back to shame here. Again, he does have a higher I rating than Philip Hammer, but Hammer right now, again, I presume probably got a little bit lucky. He got where he did and where he was at, because honestly, had Lazarus not been in that situation or been right there side by side with him, I think it could have been a good race between those two, as McLeod throws a heavy block there. Entering in through turn number 1 there, draw it right onto the left side there at your screen, power it off, and then send it into the corner. In NASCAR, that's exactly what you need to do here, although some of us would just completely skip out on the fact you don't want to go over the ridges of the turtles down there. We just don't really care. These cars, too, they seem to kind of be taking up on that aggressive nature, that aggressive background as Igor goes. Oh, my, he's going for runs and he's going for broke. Daniel Thomas and them having at it. And Igor right now, I said a lot about Lazarus coming back, but Igor's literally just completely dishing it right out on all of them, and Daniel Thomas, the next victim in line. Oh my. And now McLeod and Lazarus having to go out of here, down through turns 11 and 12. And McLeod, woo boy, that is some heavy blocking right there if I ever saw it. Blocking the entry and blocking the exit just to power the corner up, but at the same time it sets himself up for that turn. So as a road courser, I would presume that's the objective, that's the main goal, is it not? Let me know in the comment section down below if I'm right or if I'm wrong, or if I need to be re-educated in this stuff. I'm more of an oval guy, so I'm willing to listen about the road course style of things. I just know one thing's for sure, you give up at least a tire or a fender length of that corner, you must surrender that line because you do not want to end up getting somebody into something that don't want to be in yourself. That's the way I know it. Lazarus and McLeod, though, it seems like they don't really care or mind that too much at all. Lazarus and McLeod right now just still hanging through the turns and ciphering right back in. Ooh, bump and runs there. Lazarus gives him the old corner, and he didn't like, and I don't think McLeod liked that too much. But the thing is, you slow down enough, they're not going to care. Oh, you got to love a good bump and run on the courses here, although it wasn't quite a run. White flag out on the track here. We got one more lap to go. And I literally have been talking about this guy the entire time because, well, what am I supposed to say? He's 11 seconds out of the field. This man literally just took this race and decided, hey, I'll just, you know, scat all along, guys. But when the inverts in the field have to get kind of sent in different spots of this race, what will happen for Philip Hammer in terms of his power and his overall consistency? We've seen it before. He struggles to kind of stay out of that back in the pack, middle of the road, kind of racing in terms of trying to make the proper passes and trying to get out of the messes that everybody else seems to put themselves into. We'll have to see how that kind of tempers down. Lazarus and McLeod still one big corner off into the bus stop there. They're still going hard for that position. But coming down to the final two corners, safe to say this one's going to the number 60, Philip Hammer, in this sprint race. Will take home victory here. Checkers are out, coming towards the 60. Hammer takes it home in Watkins Glen for the sprint race. Cypher's going to take home the, well, I thought maybe he might not take home second for a minute. Igor almost caught him down the corner. Daniel Thomas holds on for fourth. Spencer Marsh going to go fifth, and Michael McLeod going sixth with Corey Lazarus holding on down for seventh. Mark DeBruin, Felipe Straffelli, and Emmanuel Ojo having a good little run there themselves. What a performance. Man, you gotta believe too that was a long road that kind of put him into that position, had to fight for everything he had in terms of control, in terms of position, in terms of consistency here. I think we're just waiting on one more driver here. There he goes. Alright, so that will take care of our sprint race here. Well, let's take a look at our results, though. Why not? Let's take a look here. So here is the final results there for this one. Interesting go and an interesting battle there for every driver, but man, oh man, does it look like Hammer is going to be another favorite again. Thorsten Cypher and Igor Kosto, those two, they had speed and endurance. But in my opinion, Igor, as well as we'll get to Corey Lazarus in a minute, those were the guys that really, in my opinion, shined the brightest. Despite having issues or getting taken out, they came back and they fought hard. Daniel Thomas, though, consistency matching all above else. Spencer Marsh having a good little go there. Michael McLeod never seemed to really stray or fray away from anything. So we'll see if he can keep that up and keep it going. Maybe get himself a good starting position here in this next round. Mark D. Bruin and Felipe Straffelli and Emmanuel Ojo, they certainly put on a run to pour on the Howard power there. So, that said, though, they did catch some breaks. Let's see if they can do it again with all that is going to be in their way and in their sights. So, about one more minute left on the clock here as we're just currently getting the drivers ready to go. This should be an interesting one, honestly. I'm interested to see where the positions are going to be, where the drivers are going to be intending down to, and where they'll have to face off at. Overall, though, I got to believe, man, there was a lot of gaps and a lot of speed that kind of burrowed in there, and everyone running to try to take control and take as much of this as they could. But trying not to make a mistake and trying not to let up on certain areas, I think really is what kind of separates the men from the boys. And now, with a track like this, instead of having to find a way to get past hard corners and tight end entries and exits, it's now a matter of Well, how hard can you drive into a corner and then draft out and then draft back off of someone else? A driver's track, to say the least. And now they're about to face that here with this next go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Here is your starting lineup. Mark DeBruin's going to get the #1 spot. Corey Lazarus will have himself a time in that second spot. Michael McLeod going to go in the third. Spencer Marsh in the fourth. Daniel Thomas going to go fifth, and Igor Kos sixth. Starson Seifert starting seventh. Philip Hammer going to have to start that mid-back in eighth. We just talked about him a minute ago. We'll see if he can make up for the lost time last ones. Felipe Straffarelli, he's had speed, he's had power, but now he's got to put it to use here. Emmanuel Ojo, pretty much starting where he had been in that first sprint race. Salvatore Garriento going to be a good one here. Byron DeBello going to be certainly one to watch out for there. The seventh spot for the row 7, of course, though. 7th will be Alexander Wilford. Emmanuel Koopmans. Yeah, Nayo Kill in there, row 8. Kenny Eckert. And then row 9 with Danny Hogendorn, Jason Lyons, and Fernando Feria. He's going to have himself a time and a half in that backpack. Race fans, here we go. It's time to send them down their way and off to the green. Green flag is out. Here we go. Ooh, good jump there by Lazarus. DeBruin, though, finds a way around him, and then Michael McLeod kind of mixing it up a little bit in between. Every driver now for themselves. Up the slippery slopes of the Snake Hill, as I'll call it. This S-shaped turn, man, this is where trouble begins. This is where trouble gets into it even more. Oh, my. Problems. This is not good. Big problems for Spencer Marsh. And he traps Fernando Feria in that mix yet again. Oh, my. And a lot of damage there on one of our drivers as well. I think, oh, no, don't tell me. Yeah, it is. It's Philip Hammer again. Hammer has got a problem, and now Byron DeBello, he got himself into trouble as well. Every driver right now trying to get an escape from the back. We'll try to look at the replay in a minute, but what on earth? Oh, my. Lazarus already taking control as Mark DeBruin couldn't quite keep him down. And this is what I was talking about earlier, was if Lazarus got that chance, what would he have done? Well, we're now getting a good long look at it. They're still charging, and they're still clipping each other down from the entries and the exits. Oh, my. 3 wide off. Are these guys insane? Oh, my. Oh, they are still rolling it hard. They're still pulling through the gas now, setting down to turn number 1. Oh, hard break in there. I think that was Nayo Kill in there. Hold on down there. Or actually, Emil Koopman, excuse me. Yep, that is the 911 there, Emil Koopmans. He was the one trapped in the middle of the sandwich, and he almost found himself in a bad spot. Fernando Feria there, give him credit where credit's due. He's charging back, and he's coming back with a vengeance. Oh, but he's got to avoid another one here, right into the gap. There goes Nayo. Nayo Killen just gets completely Spanish to the shadow realm, and he is not going to come back from that one. Everybody right now taking for an absolute wild ride right out of the gate. All of a sudden, we'll go back and take a look at the replay here on some of our drivers to see what the heck exactly happened down there. But man, that was an absolutely troublesome start there out of the gate for everyone. See if we can see it right up ahead here. That's where trouble began, and that's where trouble ended. Spencer Marsh there got trapped there and then stopped Fernando Feria. And look at that. You can see Hammer. He had so much damage on that right front there. That's where all that issue came from. And then Byron DeBello just got a little too tight there. And that's where all of a sudden his issues came from. That's the best we're going to get out of this replay here for you guys. There's so much action that happened on that one go there. That's absolutely insane. And Lazarus already starting to run off and get away. And he's just saying out loud, well, they let me get a chance, so I might as well use it, right? Hey, he's not wrong. Let him have at it and let them go at it, he says, and that's what he's going to do for himself. But he still has a full 30 minutes. of racing action he's got to put up. Lazarus representing for the Australian New Zealand market right now, and he is still just ahead of McLeod by about 2.5 seconds here. McLeod, though, I talked to him just before we got into this race, and he told me he was excited for this. He knew how to kind of run it with the best of them. But speaking of running with the best of them, what are you going to say about this guy coming up from the back here? Fernando Feria, I was not lying when I said he had a 9,000i rating. This guy literally was dead last, and he is now already pursued a good short in his field, and he is kicking speeds well over what Lazarus is doing. I would not want to be any of those leaders. If this guy gets a little too comfy and gets starting to put up something, this could be a sight here, folks. 11 spots up, unreal. Igor Kos that last heat there, that little sprint race he had, I thought genuinely he was actually doing pretty good down there. But then all of a sudden things got kind of shifted up for a ride there. Now all of a sudden he's kind of traveling on the back there with the guys like Kenny Eckert and Leon's there mixing in the between. Trying to hold down the power, trying to hold down the run here. Eckert still looking on as Leon's, Igor, and Feria patrol up to the top 10. Emil Koopmans trying to find a way around Wilford here. And this is really the first time we got a chance to see Alexander Wilford really be able to put up onto the track here. And no, that was not us blinking him in and out. That was his own stuff there, guys. Hard move there, running it right into the back and into the gap there. And a big move off there. Emil Koopmans making some work here, but Fernando Feria now looking to try to antagonize and maybe intervene a little as well. I don't know how I feel about anybody being that close behind me. I've already had one driver get on me like that when I was running in a Chevrolet Corvette. I ran that, I think you showed it on the broadcast, I ran that race with the best of them, and that bus stop almost cost me because my good friend and longtime rival, the Rattlesnake, Robert Kahn, he just did not know when to leave me alone in that race, man. He was always on my back bumper, and I was getting so annoyed. I'm just thinking, do you really want to get brake checks on me? But he and I, we stood our ground, and we raced our race. But I remember he would try to make a pass on me, and I would just make sure I blocked wherever run he was trying to go for, because I knew he couldn't get me if I kept staying in my own lane. Difference though here is, this is a different kind of car, and this is a much harder car to kind of brake and keep sturdy with. And Fernando is going to put that to use. What a move there. Emil couldn't have anything left to do except just trying to hold him down, but Fernando has not lit that up. That's crazy to me, man. He just completely took him into the entry there and just sharpened that corner up, and he was not letting up. You see the intervals on your screen as well here, and the gaps that are giving up and the times they're losing out on. Lazarus right now falling further and further up ahead as McLeod can't quite seem to get things together here. And that time you see as well that they're throwing up on the screen, that is the last lap they just set there. The fastest lap so far was set, surprisingly enough, by actually the 109.25, and that was Philip Hammer. But I say surprisingly because Hammer's nowhere near in this mixture here. Not like it was in the last go, though. Well, Straffelli must have listened very carefully when I said it's time to start putting 2 and 2 together and start figuring out how to kind of run this race out. Straight through the bus stop now, running it back down to Daniel Thomas in the 160. Thomas right now looking on as Straffelli is just continuing to keep all his momentum up and starting to look deeper into the corners. And that's the thing as a driver, if you can find a way to look deeper in the corners, you're starting to send them a message. And Philip Hammer, ironically enough, behind in that mix and behind in that field. I don't think he minds too much having to be where he's at. I think really what he hates that he's a lap down, so he can't really enjoy being able to actually race it out with these guys. It's an unwritten rule in the racing world, but they say do not try to make it harder on someone who is on the lead lap. Let them race their race. So that it could be the case here in this kind of racing ordeal. You can see how big these straightaways are too. They are not small straightaways. The turtles, man. The rubber just hitting those things. Holy cow. That is a sound I didn't think I'd ever hear. That is a pretty cool sound though. Listen to this. It's not quite as loud as mean as the muscle cars I'm used to, of course, but hey, that sound is pretty good. I'll give them that. Gets the Crusader seal of approval for me. Byron DeBello right now. Looks like it's one of the first times we've really seen him out on the track, and this time having some situations kind of notched up on his end and having a little bit of problems here or there, kind of working around. He's out, 13th spot down right now. He was up into the battle zone and into that drive off, but ever since he got into that little mix up there at the beginning, it's been pretty much kind of the same thing he had to deal with Philip Hammer, which is just trying to figure out how to get anything to work, anything kind of catch up with Lazarus. At this point right now, the Blackout Motorsport New Zealand driver just trying to become a little bit more on the cruise control, if you will. And what do I mean by cruise control? Long story short, you're not really pushing the thing as hard as you need to. You are just taking it nice and smooth. Keep it rich in the corners. Keep it nice and nice and tight in the exits. And as I say that, he does get a little bit of that wall, so I guess that throws it out the window. Flagman watching on here as he gets a good view of that straightaway and everyone else on the track. Probably just counting the drivers as they come along. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, everyone's there. Hammer right now still behind Schiaparelli, and I wonder too, with Hammer being where he's at, is that possibly hurting Schiaparelli here a little bit? Is that possibly like what could be slowing him down just a little bit more and not giving him quite as much time to run through? Well, I don't know about that, but Hammer, oh no, that was what we were a little worried about. Felipe just got a little low tap there from old Hammer, and Hammer just giving him a little tease, get him a little nudge as he was trying to throw the jump for the outside corner, and instead he ends up on the receiving end of it. Let's take a look at the replay here and see what exactly just transpired there. Looks like, oh yeah, so Hammer was going for the pass, and bam, you can see, look at the part flying right off there. Felipe's there. That cannot be a good sign there when you lose that. I think he lost the entire mirror actually off that. Yeah, he did. He lost the mirror. So if he's not running with the iRacing default stuff, he's racing in simulation. He's got no mirror now on that left side, and I'll tell you guys right now, that is extremely important mirror there to have. The right side mirror is good to have, but that left side mirror, what that does is since you're making right-handers, drivers are going to be trying to make more of a pass on the left side. So without that mirror now, he's basically kind of just blind, if you will, to an extent. That's going to absolutely change that level of racing and feel for him in terms of control. Rolling it right through as we went on board here with Alexander Wilford here. He's just giving you a good look on it, how you maintain control of this run, you maintain control of this track, and showcase whatever else you can do with it. The sectors right now here showing a lot of positivity and great speed encounters, but really I'm seeing this kind of pretty clearly. Lazarus is pretty much beating out most of the top 5. I say most because there's only one other driver that's beating him outright, except for one sector here, and that is, of course, Fernando Feria. That's the S3 sector. So what does that mean exactly in the sectors? Well, you got to remember, with sectors here in the road course racing, there are the time deltas on where you gain the most traction, the most ground, and where you had the most run from in this case. And that's when you can make moves like this, which is this big pass off. Fernando Feria was looking for the carousel. That's a track corner I honestly wish no one would even try to pass on in any other car other than maybe these things. Because that corner, you slightly get one little hit or one little rub, and next thing you know, oh boy, get out of the way, because it's not going to be pleasant. Thomas looking on right now as he knows he is currently being mixed up and just starting to fire as hard as he can off. He's looking to try to see if maybe he can get a little bit more conservative nature and a little more control off there, but it's still biding his time and biding his run off. Thomas looking just to keep him behind. Feria looking maybe for a crossover. Nope, he's going to try on the left side this time. That's a tough angle to pass from, but it's possible. And he does get it to work around there off the entry. Got the exit timed beautifully. Feria got a good run, a nice little pass there. I think this really is like the only car you can absolutely do that with, because again, I've tried it with everything else. Unless you're going to force that driver to have to take that turn so tight, you're not going to really be able to make a move off it. Halfway done with this one, and man, they have absolutely just put the boots to the track and put the fight on the regards to their cars themselves. Jason Leon's right now, the number 718, another American driver actually representing from Texas in terms of the club situation for iRacing. You get these guys also, they're not all from where you see the country from, but most of them I would say are. The thing is, like with iRacing, they have a little club system where it shows you like what country they be at, what country they are from. So that is just a little something to kind of keep in mind about. Now we are 14 minutes left on the time delta here. Anybody's guess at this point, really, who can make the best of it. And right at this moment, too, there is still a chance. There is still a chance for Fernando Feria to do maybe the biggest upset I have seen all season. And that is to completely take this race by the storm and by the throat and choke every little life out of it. This guy is absolutely just destroying this track. Michael McLean right now is going to be his next victim. If he can get the 2-second gap marked off from him, time's starting to run out. Michael McLean right now currently trying to keep the Canadian side of things away from him. He's got that, well, he's got the Brazilian driver. I believe that's the country flag for that. I'm probably going to get absolutely laughed at if that's not. It is. Actually, I got it right. Yep, I got it right, guys. Don't judge me. Yep, that is the Brazilian flag. So hey, at least I know some things here, guys. At least I'm not completely incooperative about geography as well as from national world history and national logistics. Now that I say that, though, someone's probably going to pull up a clip there or have a comment of me like saying I said something else one time. So, nevertheless, still time with 12 minutes left to go. Some absolutely heavy hitters in this one, giving it everything they can. But Feria has just been by far the most impressive because the fact is, started from 19, got slowed down early, and then from there he just said, well, the heck with it. I'm cutting it into overkill now. And now a full second and a half has been turned into a second and a 10th in just a matter of a lap. And McLean, too, I know he's probably driving the tires off this thing right now, but I mean, what do you do with a guy that's literally just completely hitting the lap pedal and saying, I don't need to slow down for nobody? I don't know how you even can fight that, much less combat it. Rolling it right through. Big drive from the bus stop. Oh, Fernando, though, that could be a time penalty. Is he going to have to slow down? It looks like he did a little bit. He got a little too close to the entry there, and that was off track. Fernando's first mistake finally coming there and gave McLeod maybe just a slight bit of relief, but not much. Mark de Bruin trying to capitalize on the mistake there from Fernando, but that may not work out in his favor very well. Daniel Thomas still in this mix as well, trying to get something figured out here. Up the slippery slope and down through the S turn here. It's amazing how close these cars kind of stay together here with how much that draft package, the aerodynamic dependencies that comes from this kind of run. But that to me is what makes it so much more fun, is the fact you have to rely a little bit on the draft. You have to rely on keeping the speed up in order to make proper moves and make proper racing passes. Now only 0.4 of a second left. Fernando has literally charged to McLeod, but with only 10 minutes left on the clock, he's currently a full 9.8 of a second back behind him. And it looks like a little bit of problems down there. Spencer Marsh here on the bus stop. Looks like might have a little bit of an issue down there. We'll see if we can get a replay popped up for that. If not, we'll just continue on with the race. Fernando, though, looking to the right side. Is he going to try a different line here? This is a whole different way. This is where I would usually try to run in. Oh, look at that, though. Oh, my. He just crossed over McLeod completely there, right entering into the entry of the bus stop, and just did not let a single thing off on that part of the track. That's impressive again. And I don't know how many times I've had to say that, but this dude's just really putting everything into the breadbasket and just not caring. It's crazy to me. Well, speaking of crazy, Spencer March definitely not quite up to his usual style racing background today. And we're going to take a look and see why that was in this one. Looks like he had a little bit of an encounter down there with the double O of Bello. The Bello, yeah. Oh, yeah, right there. Oh, my. That's what usually I deal with when in terms of someone trying to pull that move in the bus stop. One more look at it. Credit to DeBello, though, man. Actually, he had the right line there. Didn't have to really worry about too many things, but he hanged on. March, unfortunately, you know, credit where credit's due. He tried to make the move, but it just did not work in his favor and ended up costing him in the results. Down to the final 8 minutes. Is that really enough time, though? Has Lazarus got enough time to stay ahead of that race? I don't know, honestly. It's so hard to tell, but right now he has lost only a 1/10 of a second or two, not seconds yet, so there is a chance. Thomas Koopmans right now, they are currently in a heated battle for the 4th spot. Koopmans right now would have been Tyler hard charger with Jason Leon's down there, but let's just say that wasn't quite what they were thinking about or what they were thinking to go with here, so. Well, instead they have McLeod, Ferry, and all of them just kind of take this race into the palm of their hands and then just completely throw it out the window and just do whatever they wanted from there. Well, Hammer's now back behind Mark De Bruin here, and De Bruin fall from grace, to put it nicely here. He had a top spot there at the beginning of this one. Took an early lead, then Lazarus just said, I'm not waiting back here no more. I'm getting out of here before these guys catch me. He had a couple times there last couple races where he should have had a chance to possibly go for the race win or for the least the big selling point, but he hasn't had a full-on momentous occasion in that situation, that deal. Now you can see too just how much you have to really turn these cars in. You have to kind of wheel them out. The straightaways, they make quite a difference here. They may be a lot more run and a lot more grip. But this right here is where you really just slam that brake down and just hope for the best. That's where bigger brakes really come in. And where some good corner entries come into play. McLeod opened the door up and Koopmans fucked it right ahead. Parked it right ahead and took control of that. Daniel Thomas now looking to make McLeod pay for it as well. Charge left side. Thomas going to be in a very tough spot like Marsh was a little bit. And he's not going to try to do the same move. He's going to back out for the minute. Perhaps a clever move there. Probably didn't want to end up in the receiving end of that. And race fans as well, coming up later today here on Pete's Race TV. Federal Middle Racing League is out and about, and they've got themselves a wild ride ahead of them. We'll see what happens when they go live here on Pete's Race TV, but stay tuned for more action because the Truck Series are up next here later in the day. Then, of course, tomorrow night we'll have an off day, of course, unless something pops up. Don't think anything will. Tuesday we will be back with Go Racing League. The championship race is on the line here. We will see who of the four go home with the title. And then on Wednesday, the Six Sigma Sim Racing League, Oval League has had some fun with those Gen 4s. What more fun can they bring? We'll see soon enough. On the oval side of things, not the road course no more. It's almost fun, but the ovals is where those bad boys will have to take control again. And then on Thursday night, another new track to be settled. We have the Bark River returning to the show. It's been so long since we have seen the dirt road track race, but the Pro 2 lights are coming out, and they are going to be one to watch out for. Stay tuned for more when we get to that. Friday, another off day, and then Saturday we return to the GOAT Racing League's Cup Series, so we'll see what they do there. And then Sunday, I believe we'll be rolling once to that final race of the season, or we're going to be at least 2 away from it at that point. But it's going to be a long, long road, and then of course the Porsche Cup Challenge will be before all of them. Round 6 still to come. For those that have not already subscribed on our Pete's Race TV YouTube channel, be sure to do so you never miss out on any of our racing action here, as well as our live coverage and calls. Be sure to also follow us here on Facebook, where we get all the hard racing and all the moments like you just seen there with De Bruin deciding to have a little fun and kind of outwit Wilford. You just never know what you'll expect, and you can never be too sure what you'll get. But you can know one thing's for sure, you're going to get some of the craziest coverage and some of the best calls you'll get around on Pete's Racing TV. Back now live right now, 7 seconds left for Feria to catch Lazarus. If Lazarus makes one wrong move or spins slightly or gets a little bit out of shape, Feria can come back and take him down. And I believe we're going to be rolling on the second to final lap here. This should be the 2 to go marker, I believe. Pretty impressive day here for this 115 to Michael McLeod as well, going top 5 here and staying right in with the packs. Had a second place spot there for a little while, but that drive and that draft really overshot him up a bit. Those tires starting to wear up too quickly. That's something we didn't think about too. How bad have the brakes been kind of taken advantage of as well? If you think about it, they have a lot of stuff going down and a lot of troubles to have to face up with. So it makes it that much more difficult to kind of work around and have to feel in the position. Parking it on the right side here. Thomas and Igor right now looks like they'll have one more go at it. McLeod though making the run for it off that distance. Every driver for themselves, because now this looks like it could be the second and final lap now for sure. Looks like they're gonna get one more in. So Bernardo waiting it out. That flagman's kind of tricky. Sometimes I can figure out what for sure he's gonna do, and then sometimes I can't calculate for sure how he's gonna do this here. So I think we're like, what, like 2 minutes left to go, and then they called the white flag out? Or like about a minute and a half, somewhere around there? A big lead here, probably just hoping and praying that white will hurry up already. Jason Leon's next up on the radar to catch him. Philip Hammer, though, right behind him. Right into the mix and through the subset corners and the subset turns. Everybody's just doing what they possibly can at this point, just to hang on. Here we go, Lazarus once more. I think for sure this is going to be the white flag. Let's see. Lazarus going to roll it right off. Yes, it is. White flag is coming out this time. Lazarus just one more to go to finally do what he's been waiting to get to. He's been waiting so long to finally do this here. The Germans have been just absolutely madhouses with Igor Kos and Philip Ammer. And even Thorsten Seifert having a little fun in that. But the Australians have always been in that top 300, in that second spot. Whether it was Lazarus or whether it could have even been a few of the others. You knew for sure, though, nobody was safe from trying to take a run at it and trying to take a stab at it. That 85 right now is starting to look like it could be his day. Trying to bring another one home, as he's going to bring the Blackout New Zealand Motorsports 85 down the final two turns, substantially into 11, and then for corner 12, the 85 of Lazarus. He's going to get it done here in Watkins Glen, New York. The blackout race for the 85. Lazarus takes it home to victory lane. There he is, ladies and gentlemen, your race winner at Watkins Glen. Corey Lazarus puts the fight onto the track. It puts the battle down to everything. What a performance. He had to do everything in his will and in his power just to get there. Never missed a beat, never missed a step. The only thing he did for sure was just launch every corner and launch every drive he can to linger this one into the proper spot and to get himself finally where he needed to be. Well, he's going to celebrate the only way he knows how. He found some open space, so he's going to send it into a little burnout. Oh, my. Look at Emil Koopman's down there. He's going to have a little fun there for a third spot. Fernando Feria, man, give him credit's due. He probably is used to it, racing with the hardest and the toughest guys, but, man, he had to absolutely overpower a lot of this track just to get where he did today. So kudos to him and a good race from his end and his side of things. But Lazarus will be your winner as the final results pop up. Presented by the MotorRacingChecklist.com. Big win here for Lazarus and a big finale there between him and Emil Koopmans. Daniel Thomas going to go home third. Michael McLeod going to go fourth. Jason Leon's going to go fifth. Alexander Wilford going to go 6th. Mark De Bruin going 7th. 8th to Felipe Straffarelli. 9th to Kenny Eckert. Niall Killen is going to go home in the top 10, rounding out your field. 19th will be Emmanuel Ojo. Unfortunately, not quite what he was hoping for. Probably what they were expecting to do in this racing ordeal. Wow. Whew. Whoa, oh my, folks. That was something. So let's see kind of if we can get a look here. Trying to see if we can show the championship points here. If there's possibly anything there. I'm still not getting anything overall on that. So looks like I don't really have anything I can do about that. Well, nevertheless, I guess that'll be kind of where we wrap it up at. But nevertheless, ladies and gentlemen, what a race, what a time for these drivers, and absolutely just insane all around. But hey, as we say in racing, that's just racing sometimes. So congratulations to our winner, Corey Lazarus, and thank you all for tuning in. We have more to come here. The Truck Series up at Almeida Racing League still left on the marker. We'll see you then when the green flag flies.